Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Gwei Refuel, where I recap the latest news in the Ethereum ecosystem. I'm your host, Anthony Sassano, and today is the 28th of January 2021. Alright everyone, let's get into the news from today. So basically, before we jump in, actually, I wanted to just give a quick shout out to CriptoSpanglish, who is now translating the Daily Gwei newsletter into Spanish. So if you'd rather read it in Spanish rather than English, you can go check that out. And on top of this, it's already being translated into French as well, for those who didn't know. So you can go follow the Daily Gwei FR on Twitter, and you'll be able to check out the French version there. So the French version is just two of the newsletters that get translated kind of every week. I think the Tuesday and Thursday edition. So it's not every single one of them. And the Spanish one, it's only one so far, but there's more coming. So yeah, really, really grateful to these people offering up these translations. If you would like to translate the Daily Gwei newsletter into another language, be sure to reach out to me. You can just DM me on Twitter, and I'll be happy to kind of like help you with that and kind of get some reach about it as well, so that you can kind of add value here. So yeah, big thank you again to the people translating it into Spanish and French so far. It's really awesome. So, I mean, we all have been on Twitter the past, I guess, few days and on Reddit and, seen all the news about the stock market and the kind of GameStop stock going up a lot, the GME stock going up a lot because of what's called a kind of short squeeze. Now, I mean, I'm sure you've already kind of looked into it, but I for those who don't know, I'll give like a quick breakdown of what happened. So what ended up happening is that the GameStop stock was shorted by these hedge funds and these billionaires for many months. They kept shorting it, and they shorted more than 100% of the outstanding shares. So basically, what this does when you short a stock or short a crypto, what you do is you borrow it from someone and then you sell it. And then the hope is that you'll buy it back later, right, at a cheaper price, and then you kind of like pocket the difference, and kind of like pay it back. Pay the loan back to the person you borrowed it from, and you obviously bought it cheaper, so you pocket the difference there and make profits from that. Now, as I said, GameStop had been shorted for quite a while, for many months. It got pretty brutalized, and then what ended up happening was a subreddit called Wall Street Bets banded together over many months and kept buying the stock, right? So they kept buying and buying and buying and buying a lot of it. And then one point it just, they bought so much of it that a lot of it was, tied up in with these kind of retail traders, and the price went up. Now, when you're shorting the stock, you don't want the price to go up. Obviously, you want it to go down. Now, what ends up happening and why it's called a short squeeze is that the price goes up so quickly that the people who shorted it are forced to cover their position. So they have to buy it back to pay back their loans, or they risk, buying it back at a even higher price and then kind of being out of pocket because of that. So, and you can imagine what happens then if everyone's trying to cover their short position, they buy the stock, and that just adds more fuel to the fire, making the price go up even more. So they're shooting themselves in the foot by doing that, right? So because the price went up so fast, it then went up even faster from the short covering, and then it just became like a snowball effect where the price went up a lot. I'm not sure exactly how much it went up, but a lot, as these billionaire fund managers and these billionaires got kind of stopped out or short squeezed by these retail traders. Now, because of this, there's been a lot of kind of fight from the incumbents, from these billionaires. Some of the, some of the financial services providers or the exchanges for these stocks kind of like halted trading or said they were going to halt trading. And these billionaires are going and complaining and saying, this shouldn't happen. This is manipulation. But it's just rich because, this is what a lot of them do anyway. They manipulate the markets all the time, right? They get in the ears of politicians to kind of write legislation and different laws and regulations to benefit themselves. And now that they've been caught with their pants down, they're complaining. That's rich, right? And so I put out this tweet today because obviously, Ethereum and DeFi in truly decentralized protocols like Uniswap, Hayden Adams, the founder of Uniswap, couldn't just say, well, I don't like that people are kind of shorting Uni or doing stuff with Uni. I'm going to disable trading on Uniswap. He can't do that, right? There is no backdoor in Uniswap. No one can control it. So I think, people seeing this and people seeing that, when the going gets tough for the incumbents, the rich and powerful, they're just going to complain, and they have all the power to make things happen the way they want to happen. And now that they kind of like feel a little bit powerless because these retail investors have kind of like fought back and said, you guys are really brutalizing this stock. Screw you. We're gonna squeeze you, basically. We're gonna short squeeze you, and that's exactly what they did. So I think more people are gonna come into the Ethereum and DeFi space because of this. They're gonna realize that we're building these tools. We're building an actual decentralized financial system that cannot be stopped, right? It cannot be stopped by a central party. If there is a centralized kind of key with these DeFi protocols, and then it's used, then these DeFi protocols will actually lose market share to ones that are decentralized, like fully decentralized. So there's kind of like a kind of gambit going on there as well. But just in general, I mean, I wrote about this in the Daily Gwei newsletter today. DeFi is just by nature completely open, right? Permissionless to innovate. No KYC. Truly decentralized protocols like Uniswap have no backdoors, no central party to kind of hit pause or anything like that, and no one can control what you do with your own capital. And this is just like very, very freeing, right? Like, people want to be free. Humans want to be free. We don't want to be controlled. We especially don't want to be controlled by billionaires and rich people who think they're better than us and think that they should be able to do whatever they want. But as soon as the going gets tough for them, they kind of go crying to mummy regulator and complain and say, you need to stop this. You need to regulate this. You need to close down the exchanges. And I just thought that was total bullshit, for lack of a better term. Just absolutely disgusting. And really, I got so bullish on Ethereum and DeFi, and I got so convinced that, we are building these tools and we're building this stuff, and it's going to have such a large impact. We can't even imagine how much of an impact this is going to have on the world. And with that's going to bring fight, right? The incumbents are going to fight us. The regulators are going to fight. But the amazing and beautiful thing is that they can fight as much as they want. Unless they can overtake the Ethereum network, which is extremely hard to do, even in proof of work. It's going to be even harder in proof of stake. Then they have no fight in them. They can't do anything. In some of these DeFi protocols, they may be able to. Maybe they try to go for the governance processes of them and kind of do something with the governance where they get control of the protocol and kind of mess around with that. But it doesn't matter. It'll just get forked to the protocol, right? And then people will start again. People will withdraw their funds if they notice this happening. A lot of these contracts have time locks on them so that changes can't actually be enacted until 24 to 72 hours kind of later. So there are so many things that we can do to stop that from happening. But the truly decentralized protocols like Uniswap, they can't do anything. They can absolutely nothing to that protocol in its current state. Maybe in the future there's some governance that gets added, but in its current state, they can do absolutely nothing. And they're going to try, right? They're going to try and regulate it. They're going to try and regulate the centralized choke points like exchanges. The fiat on-ramps, definitely still a big choke point. Getting into this ecosystem requires those fiat on-ramps. You can't just come in with, you have to buy ETH or a stablecoin from a centralized exchange. You can't just go directly from, AUD or USD or whatever to crypto without a centralized intermediary. And there are some ways to do it with local cryptos and things, but even them, they are kind of having to implement KYC or probably will soon because of just the tight regulations here. But once you're on Ethereum, once you're in DeFi, then you can resist, right? You can do all your own stuff. You can be completely anonymous if you want with your Ethereum address, and you can go bankless. And it's so bullish. We haven't even scratched the surface of how many people are going to be coming into this ecosystem. And the more this stuff happens in the traditional world, the more people are going to figure this out. I even saw the Wall Street Bets account on Twitter tweeting about Bitcoin today, and then Dogecoin and stuff like that. So they're aware of it. And, it's funny because on the subreddit, you can't actually talk about crypto at all. It's banned. And I think they banned it because everyone was just going on there and shilling their own coins, which is sad because, I think that subreddit, as kind of crazy as it is, there's a lot of smart people on there, and there's a lot of our target audience on there, the people that will benefit the most from this technology, but they don't even hear about it because you're not allowed to post about it on there. So, yeah. Just a bit of a rant there. I think I'm pretty sure you all feel the same way as I do about this. I'm here to basically get rid of all these centralized parties, absolutely just eradicate them out of existence. Most of them are parasitic, they're cancerous, they do not deserve to belong in the world in my eyes. They do not empower financial freedom. They actually make it worse for people, and they never face any consequences. I think there was only one person that went to jail in 2008 after the crash happened in the global markets because of that. And now because some retail investors short squeezed a bunch of billionaire hedge fund managers on one stock, they want to basically regulate everything, and someone has to be held accountable. Get screwed, honestly, seriously. Like, no, that's just not going to happen. And we're going to resist as much as we can. So yeah, end rant there, but just thought I'd talk about it since I think it's extremely relevant to everything that we're doing within Ethereum and DeFi. And I think I have something here from Nick Chong, which was actually really great. I love this. So he says, open quote on this tweet, "I know there's angst about Ethereum transactions fees during times of congestion, but Robinhood was down for 2 hours. TD Arbitrate has placed restrictions on GME trades. Trading 212 had disrupted service. Regulators suggested a 30-day GME halt, and DeFi is a way out of this," end quote. I mean, this is what I was talking about a few days ago on the Refuel, how we're pioneers of this technology right now. If you're in this technology right now, the cost of financial freedom as it currently stands is those high transaction fees. The cost of decentralization is those high transaction fees. We're going to fix it, right? We're going to improve it with layer 2 and all that sort of stuff. But right now, you get to access the most decentralized financial system that's ever existed, right? For maybe even at the worst of times, maybe $100 to trade on Uniswap, right? I know that sounds like a lot for smaller trades and things like that, but that is the price to pay for an extremely decentralized financial system as it currently stands until we can get these layer 2 technologies out there. And then it'll be a lot cheaper. I mean, we already have Loopring, I talk about them a lot, where you can go on and get this, similar security guarantees as the Ethereum mainnet. So yeah, I think that's just the price to pay right now, but we're going to get better. We're going to kind of like scale this out. We're going to get much better with the fees, for end users are going to come down, because if we don't do that, then obviously we lock out, millions and billions of potential people that need access to this system. But we're gonna figure it out. So yeah, I thought this was an amazing tweet from Nick here, and he works at Parify Capital as well, same as Santiago, who I talked about his tweet the other day. These guys at Parify, they deeply understand what DeFi is all about, what Ethereum is all about. And they really are out there on Twitter putting this out into the space, which I really appreciate, because it gives me something to talk about on the Refuel as well, and kind of point you in the right direction. And Nick's actually an amazing follow, so I'll link this thread in the YouTube description. I highly suggest going and giving him a follow. He's always tweeting interesting stuff out about Ethereum and DeFi. So finally, I kind of tweeted at Robinhood today. Robinhood is basically a trading app where there's basically a lot of stocks on there, and it's very popular with newer traders to trade on Robinhood. So they only have a handful of cryptocurrencies on there. They don't have any DeFi tokens, and they have weird currencies. They have BTC and ETH, and they have BSV. They have Dogecoin, which, I love Dogecoin, but it's a bit weird that they have that and they don't have any of DeFi tokens. And they've got a few others on there, but it's just a weird selection. So I tweeted let's get the DeFi Pulse Index on there. Let's add some blue chips on there, and then add Link as well while you're at it. Because as I've said before, I don't consider Link to be DeFi, but I still think it deserves to be on there. And this would just give people exposure to kind of DeFi from buying these tokens. On Robinhood, you can't actually transfer stuff out. You wouldn't be able to transfer this crypto out to your own wallet. But that's not the point of this. The point is to give people exposure, kind of quote unquote red pill them into DeFi, right? And then they can discover how to, maybe buy it on Coinbase so they can withdraw to their own wallet and things like that. So, hopefully Robinhood sees this tweet. I don't know if they will. Maybe they won't. But, I'm sure there's some regulatory hurdles there as well for them. But at the end of the day, they have some absolute trash on there in their crypto offerings. They just need to add better things. No one wants what they've got on there. No one wants BSV. Let's just be honest, right? Everyone wants DeFi tokens. And I don't see DeFi tokens as being a fad. I see them continuing to be in favor, because DeFi continues to be in favor and continues to grow. So yeah, hopefully they add these. It's funny, I don't even use Robinhood because it's a US-based app. I can't use it in Australia. But there's obviously a lot of US crypto investors, so I want to see that on there for their sake. So Aave from the Ethereum Foundation posted this announcement today on Twitter that the Ethereum Foundation has actually formed an ongoing relationship or a partnership with Reddit. And what this is, it's basically going to be focusing on scaling technologies and bringing Reddit kind of into Ethereum and helping them scale out and helping them build things on Ethereum. Now, if you remember, Reddit held a scaling bake-off back a few months ago, and this was based on their Reddit community points. So their Reddit community points was kind of a point system on Ethereum, on one of the Ethereum test nets, that allowed people to kind of like trade these things from these kind of like community points from the cryptocurrency subreddit and the Fortnite battle royale subreddit. Fortnite's a video game, very popular video game. And then they did a scaling bake-off, which was basically a scaling competition where a bunch of different teams submitted their own kind of scaling solutions to scaling this community point system. And now today, the Ethereum Foundation has officially partnered with Reddit to work on this, which is just so incredibly bullish, right? I mean, Reddit could have gone with anyone for this, but they chose Ethereum, and there's a reason they chose Ethereum, because it is the most furthest along. It is the one that speaks to Reddit's values. Even though Reddit is a centralized company, it still has roots in decentralization, because a lot of the different subreddits are actually decentralized to a point where they aren't actually unilaterally controlled by just the Reddit moderators. They've got their own moderators that control the communities, or like moderate the communities. And, you know, a lot of Reddit is actually kind of a hub and spoke model where I guess Reddit, the company, sits in the middle, and then around it there's all these spokes of different communities and things like that. And, you know, they both do stuff on Reddit and off Reddit and stuff like that. So I can't think of a better kind of partnership to happen here. And obviously Reddit is massive, right? Absolutely massive. Billions of page hits, hundreds of millions of users, and they're all going to get exposed to a lot of this stuff happening, which I think is just incredibly bullish and incredibly cool. So yeah, really, really exciting to see this announcement out of the Ethereum Foundation today. And yeah, I think this is just a perfect kind of relationship starting here. So Georgios from Paradigm put out this amazing article called Almost Everything You Need to Know About Optimistic Rollup. Now, I've spoken about Optimistic Rollup and ZK Rollups before lots of times, right? They're the scaling technologies that the Ethereum community is focusing on. Now, what this post does is it's a little bit technical, but it'll give you a full breakdown of how Optimistic Rollups works, and they go through it from first principles. So it's actually a really cool way how they explain it. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to read it on the refuel, but if you read anything today or this week, I highly recommend reading this piece. Even if you don't understand some of the technical bits, it doesn't matter. This is going to give you so much good knowledge and context around how optimistic rollups work that it's going to be worth it. And it's not even a long read either. It probably takes about 10 minutes. So I highly recommend reading this. And I hope to see more of these pieces out there, because a lot of this stuff is complex, right? A lot of this stuff is technically complex. We hear these words, we have no idea what they mean. We need someone to explain it to us from first principles. We need someone to explain it to us like we're 5 years old, right? That's the famous saying there. So really glad that Georgios put this together. I think it was the best explanation of optimistic rollup that I've ever read. And again, highly recommend going to read it. And I won't spoil any of it for you. I want you to read it yourself, because it's that good. So Alpha Finance put out this really awesome tweet today, and full disclosure here, I own Alpha tokens, so just keep that in mind. But basically, there's a reason I own Alpha tokens, right? And it's because they have grown so quickly. It's just been amazing to see. So as you can see from this chart, they kind of chart how much time did each DeFi protocol take to reach $600 million in TVL. Now, Alpha Homora, which is one of Alpha Finance's products, only took 3 months. Whereas Curve, Aave, Synthetics, Compound, Uniswap, and Maker on the end took a lot longer. Now, to be fair, Alpha only launched a few months ago, and it launched into an already very built-out ecosystem, right? So Maker obviously launched in December 2017, and DeFi was like nothing back then. The term DeFi wasn't even a thing. There was hardly any liquidity in the ecosystem, right? So it's not an apples to kind of apples comparison here, but it's still incredibly impressive that it only took 3 months for Alpha Homora to grow to $600 million in kind of total value locked here. And, for those who aren't familiar with Alpha Finance, they build a bunch of different products. They have Alpha Homora, which is like a leveraged yield farming product, which to me, obviously had immediate product market fit here. They got V2 coming out soon. They have a new AMM product coming out. They have I think perpetual products coming out. There's a bunch of different things. So yeah, I just thought this was really impressive. And I think as we keep going and as DeFi keeps growing and new protocols come to life here, there's going to be those that reach this milestone within weeks, right? And there are protocols that have reached it within a day, but I guess when you're talking about kind of like TVL here, you probably have to talk about sticky TVL, not TVL that just comes and goes within like a few days because there's a lucrative farming opportunity. You know, for example, a few weeks ago there was an algorithmic stablecoin that launched called Basis Cash, and that got $1 billion in TVL within like a day. But you know, that was only there for a few days to farm the tokens, and then most of it kind of left, right? So if we're talking about TVL, I always like to talk about sticky TVL. Like, did it actually stick around for a few months at least, right? Or was it just like kind of an in and out, you know, 20-minute adventure, let's get some tokens sort of thing? So that's what I like to kind of compare as well. So a few caveats there, and definitely still impressive growth from Alpha Homora here. Really excited to see their other products go live. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this one for you guys. So Jason Choi tweeted out that Grayscale is launching a bunch of different new, I guess, trusts, new products. And I've spoken about Grayscale's existing products on the kind of refuel before, their GBTC product and their ETH product. These are basically tax advantage products for people kind of in most of the Western countries to get exposure to BTC or ETH or any other kind of assets that they have. And it seems like they're spinning up a bunch of other trusts right now. And one of them is the Aave trust, which is really bullish because I think this is going to be the first DeFi token trust that they have, which I think is really, really cool here. There's been rumors that they're going to have a Link trust as well, and you can see Basic Attention token on here as well. So, you know, these things are basically magnets for money and for keeping things in kind of the system, because how they work is that there's not really a kind of redeem functionality. It's like they're like a black hole for these kind of tokens. Or kind of like these coins like BTC or ETH. So, you know, the reason people get excited is because they're like, okay, well, this just means more buy pressure for the tokens that I hold. Price is going to go up. Yay, everyone's making money. But on the flip side, there's also a premium to this. So I've spoken about the premium before, about how the Grayscale products can actually get way ahead of the spot price. So the price of ETH could be $1,000, but the price of ETH, according to Grayscale's ETH trust, could be like $2,000, and that's because there's this kind of massive kind of thing where you can't actually redeem, you can't actually sell. It's just buy pressure, right? And then anyone who wants to kind of close that gap between the spot market and Grayscale's market, they have to wait. There's like a 6-month waiting period for ETH and like a 12-month waiting period for BTC or GBTC, sorry, and ETH to kind of close that gap. But I've explained this before. I won't go into it too much now. But yeah, that's basically what happens there. And very exciting to see them supporting some DeFi tokens finally. I think we're going to see more of this. More of these players that haven't supported DeFi tokens in the past, they're going to do it. It just makes sense, right? I don't think that you can get away with not supporting them anymore. Customers are demanding it. You're losing so much trading fees if you're not kind of putting these in, especially to DeFi, right? A lot of these start just on DeFi within Uniswap and things like that. So yeah, really cool to see this out of Grayscale. So Lucas Guzman put out this video today, and you won't be able to see this if you're listening to the podcast, but basically what it is, it's an AR video of him, it's a video of him in AR in like a virtual showroom for his NFT that he owns, that he bought from Beeple, which I thought was really cool, right? You can see in the video here, he's kind of walking through this AR space where he's got his NFT displayed, and you know, it's just like, I mean, it's cool. Into the ether in the background there, that's really, really cool. But the reason why I wanted to kind of bring this up is because people are always asking, you know, like, okay, you have your NFTs, and I know I talked about this recently in the refuel, but like, you have your NFTs and people can see them on chain, but like, how are you going to display them, right? Where are you going to display them? How are people going to see them? And this is just one way you can display the NFTs. I've seen people do things where they have like a TV or like a monitor displaying them in their home and things like that, which I think is really cool. And you know, they obviously have the proof of purchase there and everything too. So yeah, I mean, it's not just kind of that as well, it's also virtual worlds. So there's a lot of virtual worlds that are going to be spinning up, I think, over the next few years. Decentraland's an early example of this. The crypto voxels as well, I think. There's a few others out there. And in those virtual worlds, you will only be able to display your NFT if you bought it, right? You won't be able to display a copy of it. And people, you know, and if you do try and copy it, people are going to call you out, and you'll basically be, you know, shunned for that sort of thing within the space. So having the original kind of item or the original NFT is going to be very, very valuable. And I think it's going to add even more value to NFTs and kind of make the prices go up because of that. So yeah, just a little bit more on NFTs there. I won't go too much more about NFTs. I know I spoke a lot about them on the last kind of refuels. But yeah, just really cool to see this happening, this kind of merger between AR and NFTs here. All right, last thing to talk about today. So I put out this tweet, and I'll read the whole tweet out. So basically I said, imagine selling ETH when it's still under all-time high, DeFi growth is exploding, L2 adoption is growing, the ETH BTC ratio is strong, CME futures is coming, stimulus checks are coming, whales are accumulating as seen on chain, and I explained that yesterday to you guys on the refuel. ETH2 is locking up ETH. And the year of the ox is about to begin, or the year of the 0x, right? This is the Chinese New Year, and the ox is obviously a bull, so, you know, the year of the bull market, right? I mean, I'm not one for these kind of like superstitious things or these kind of like things like, but at the same time, a lot of people are, and it kind of is a nice narrative to kind of latch onto. So yeah, and then at the end of the tweet, I said, good luck with that. Now, obviously, this isn't financial advice. I put this out there because I kind of think that it's just insane right now to be, I do think it's insane right now to be selling your ETH, right? If you're a trader, then whatever, but if you're an investor, there's just so much stuff to look forward to that I just don't see a future over the next few months where ETH isn't higher than where it is right now. Again, not financial advice, but obviously I'm extremely bullish on ETH, so you can kind of, I guess, like deduce that from what I talk about. But basically, let's run through each of these points briefly. So still under all-time high. ETH right now is what? I mean, I got it up here, 1320. The all-time high was 1420, then it was 1440, then now it's 1470, right? Let's just say the 1400s is the all-time high level. We need to clear that, get into the 1500s, and then kind of be clear of that. So we're still under that. DeFi growth is exploding. I mean, I don't even have to explain much here. It's exploding. It's exploding so much. ETH's being used in DeFi more than ever, right? There's billions of dollars in DeFi. People are buying ETH in anticipation of EIP 1559. That's actually going to burn ETH from usage. And where's all the usage coming from? It's coming from DeFi, right? Bang. L2 adoption growing. We're going to get massive scalability, more usage, more fees burned, right? More kind of ETH used as collateral within layer 2, more scalable DeFi. I mean, I don't have to explain too much about that, right? The ETH BTC ratio is incredibly strong. I talked about the other day how clearing that 0.04 level on ETH BTC was pivotal. It was a 2.5 year range, right? Being under 0.04. We cleared it, we closed above it, incredibly bullish. BTC has actually been weak lately. ETH's been very strong. I think we're gonna continue that momentum as we keep going over the next kind of weeks and months. So that's just another reason. The CME futures is launching on Feb 8th. It's what, 10 days from now, 11 days from now. That is incredibly bullish. Some people think it's bearish because the CME futures for BTC launched and then BTC crashed. No, what ended up happening was that the bull market was ending anyway because it was December 2017, right? Whereas the CME ETH futures are launching while ETH is still under its previous all-time high and the bull market is just getting started. So incredibly bullish there. Stimulus checks coming. We saw what the last stimulus checks did in the US to the crypto markets, right? A lot of people are putting these checks straight into assets, stocks, crypto, bonds, whatever you want to kind of put it into, it's going in there. I think a lot of it is definitely going to be going into stocks and crypto for sure. So watch out for that. Whales accumulating. I mean, I showed this yesterday, this chart that I had where I showed that the addresses holding 10,000 ETH or more are going up rapidly. So, I mean, that's verifiably true that whales are accumulating. ETH2 locking up ETH. I mean, the last time I checked, it was almost 3 million ETH locked in there. That's what, $4 billion or something? Bam. That's $4 billion of ETH that's locked in there until the merger happens. Most of it is. There's some of it that can be traded as like an IOU right now. But, you know, still, it is what it is. And I just explained before about the year of the ox, which looks like the year of the 0x. And obviously every Ethereum address starts with 0x at the start, which lends itself to all these kind of superstitions you can come up with and all these narratives you can sell. So yeah, and then there's actually some more that from the replies. I actually forgot about EIP 1559 in this tweet, which is insane. But I think it also speaks to the fact that there's just so much bullish stuff happening, you can't keep track of it all. So yeah, EIP 1559 coming this year. We're going to start burning ETH. ETH's going to be net deflationary once we merge into proof of stake. Well, there's a real possibility it will be. So that's incredibly bullish. the deplatforming and traditional finance centralization narrative is in full swing. I mean, I just talked about that at the start of this refuel. Basically, that's going to play huge momentum into this crypto bull market, I believe. People are losing trust in institutions. People are looking for a way out. Bam, we have Ethereum and DeFi giving them a way out. And then the last thing here is a Bloomberg/Galaxy ETH index. Galaxy is a fund run by Novo, Mike Novogratz. He's known as Novo. And I think they've teamed up with Bloomberg to launch an ETH index product, which is just, I guess, more products for people to buy ETH, buy into to get exposure to ETH. So yeah, so much bullish stuff happening. Like, it's so incredible. This is why I'm still buying ETH. And yes, I'm still buying ETH. I never stop buying ETH. I buy it like all the time. Even if it's only a small amount, I buy because it doesn't matter what price it is. I believe it's going to be higher than what it is today. I'm definitely still buying here. And I think a lot of new people are going to be buying as they discover how amazing ETH is. Whales and big money is going to keep accumulating because they've slept on it, right? Think about kind of like the move that ETH has had and how many people still don't have exposure to it. There is so many people that still don't have exposure to it. All the institutions only started getting exposure to BTC at like what? I think Michael Saylor was the first one at like $10,000 or something like that. Right. And then after that, we saw a lot more come in as we approached 20,000 and then we went all the way up to 40,000. They're not early, right? They're going to come in once we've crossed all-time highs and cleared it. Maybe they start buying ETH at $2,000 or something like that. I don't know. My price target of $10,000 is still in play. I still believe in that nothing's changed there. If anything, I'm more bullish than ever that we're going to get to 10,000 now that we're so close to clearing all-time high. I think the next time we run up, all-time high is going to get cleared and we're going to go into the 1500s and beyond. We'll see. I'm not a trader or anything. I just am incredibly bullish, as you can hear in my voice. But anyway, I will digress for now. We've gone over a bit over 30 minutes there. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching and listening to me ramble on and guess about how bullish I am on Ethereum and ETH again. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, be sure to do so. Give that video a thumbs up, join the Discord channel, and subscribe to the Daily Gwei newsletter. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. Thanks everyone.